Ricochet this past weekend has been a huge talking point within the world of wrestling. It was revealed Saturday night that he will not re-sign with the WWE once his contract expires in July. Even this week, I know the match is going to be happening later this Friday, but Ricochet dropped the Speed Championship to Andrade El Idolo. So it raises even more questions if Ricochet is going to stay. And then even this Monday Night Raw, after Braun Breaker and Ilya Dragunov had a match, Ricochet got attacked backstage and was put through a car window, effectively taking him out of television. A lot of people believe this will be the last time we see Ricochet in WWE, but of course we're going to have to wait and see. The purpose of today's video is I'm going to be fancy booking some matches that I would like to see Ricochet have in AEW. Now, I don't exactly know if he's going to join AEW, so this is just some quick announcements before we start. Me and my friend Jacob will be bringing back Connect the Vibe this Friday on Twitch. Now, if you don't know what Connect the Vibe is, Connect the Vibe was me and my friend Jacob's podcast that we started up back, I want to say February, but it was pre-recorded. We didn't really have a camera, didn't really have a set. Now that we have like a whole set, we have a whole equipment, we're going to be streaming every single Friday live on Twitch. I don't know what time exactly we're going to do it moving forward, but at 1 o'clock this Friday on Twitch, me and my friend Jacob will be streaming. Also, Friday, I will be dropping my Clash at the Castle predictions. I'll have that out. That will be a pre-recorded video since Friday is a really busy day for me. But don't worry, we'll have that out before SmackDown starts and, of course, before Clash at the Castle starts. This Saturday, too, on Twitch, I'm going to try and stream Clash at the Castle. If I can't, then no worries. After Clash of the Castle, I'm going to be dropping my immediate reactions to Clash of the Castle. I'll drop that on YouTube this Saturday. Before we begin, I just want to give some honorable mentions. Those honorable mentions will be given out to Dante Martin. I think these two would just tear the house down personally. This would be a great match to put on like a Collision or a Dynamite. I think these two are amazing wrestlers, amazing sellers. When I saw Dante Martin live at Fight at the Fall in 2022, his match against Sammy Guevara, I was really impressed with how crisp and clean his moveset really is. I mean, the guy's a pure natural. It's always a treat to see him wrestle whenever he's on Top Flight, and I believe if these two were going to wrestle one-on-one, they would tear the house down. A second honorable mention that I'm going to give out would be Nick Wayne. I just think Nick Wayne's just a super young wrestler. He still has so much left to learn, and I think he could be a really big asset in AEW for years to come. He's currently part of the patriarchy in AEW with Christian Cage and his mom, and I think Killswitch's name is now before he beat Luchasaurus. And I just feel like with the feud that Nick Wayne had with Swerve Strickland, I just feel like these two would just tear the house down, honestly, too. Very similar to how Dante Martin is. You could put this match on like a Dynamite or a Collision, and I would be really interested to see how these two will go out. The way Ricochet sells and the way Nick Wayne sells sometimes, I think this would also be a really fun matchup to have, and it would honestly just be a really great match to have, even as an opener, just to really get the crowd on their feet. I would expect a lot of high-flying moves, and this would just be a fun-ass match to watch. Kicking off this list, number 8, I have Darby Allin on here. Now, I was really going back and like trying to pick wrestlers I would like to see in this match, and at first, Darby Allin and Ricochet didn't really intrigue me, until I came up with the thought of bringing a ladder in. And then that's when my interest really started to peak. Like, I just don't know if this would be a really good match in terms of storytelling, but in terms of actually like having a ladder and having a spot match and having like these insane moments, these two would definitely, they would kill it. I mean, I wouldn't even want to imagine what Darby Allin and Ricochet had planned, but this would also just be a really fun, extreme, just high-paced, high spot, like high power match that would just be a ton of fun to watch. It would probably just be like a really fun like train wreck, and honestly, it's something that did pique my interest, and I would be interested to see if Darby Allin and Ricochet were to ever face off. I think a ladder match would be perfect for the two. Number 7 on my list, I have Rey Fenix. Now, I believe if it was Rey Fenix versus Ricochet, this match would be great. But what would really make this match a tad bit better, I feel like, is if Ricochet came out as his old Prince Puma gimmick back in the Indies. Dude, this match would be electric. Like, this would be just an insane high-flying affair. I would be glued, my eyes would be glued to the TV the entire time, dude. Seeing how good these two sell and seeing how crazy athletic both are and how amazing they are, especially with the craft of being on the rope and just doing these like crazy dives and these crazy flips. This match would be an absolute classic. Number 6 on my list, I have Malachi Black. Now, the main reason I have Malachi Black on here is because the story is already there between Ricochet and Malachi Black. If he keeps Ricochet name, I don't know. Because back in NXT, these two were a tag team. If you guys remember, the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. They fought the War Raiders one time, and they were a tag team for a while. Even on the main roster, they were a tag team. I mean, the story's already there, dude. Both guys that just, weren't really viewed as like main event talent in the main roster as singles stars, and they were just more viewed as a tag team. For them to actually face off against each other in AEW and have that match would be a freaking awesome match. I think Malachi Black himself is just such an amazing singles wrestler. That's the reason why a lot of people are clamoring and pushing for him being a singles star. Now, don't get me wrong. I like House of Black. I think House of Black is great. But Malachi Black, like himself as a solo wrestler, is so freaking good, dude. And if you have Ricochet versus Malachi Black in the match, it'd be even better. Heck, you want to do a storyline that has Ricochet joining House of Black? I know that kind of wouldn't make sense, but in the more so where it's like, okay, we already teamed before, but now you can join me in my new family, like my new faction, House of Black. Like the story's right there, man. Like this match would be awesome to watch, and I would definitely have this really high on my list. The only reason I don't have it too high is because the caliber of wrestlers I have on my list are just better wrestlers than Malachi, but it doesn't take away from the fact that this would be an amazing story and one that I believe Tony would have to book. Moving now into the top 5, I have at number 5 the AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland. I mean, of course I had to include Swerve Strickland, man. Like, he's a champion. It's only right. I just feel like these two also would just put on a really good match. Even before Swerve had that huge, rise, how do I say, like, that huge, jump into, the main event scene. I always loved Swerve Strickland. I always thought he was such an underrated wrestler, dude. That, house call kick he can do from that height is crazy impressive, dude. He hits it so clean. His moveset is just really, really nice. And, just his selling and just the way he just delivers a move, it just looks really realistic, and he does it really well. These two would just really tear the house down. Because I believe Swerve Strickland does pretty good against smaller wrestlers, and having a guy like Ricochet who can just work with Swerve's power, and Swerve is also he's not that much of a high flyer, but he can use some high flying moves. I just feel like these two's chemistry would just be really good, and it would be a really fun match to watch. At number 4, I got Bryan Danielson. I mean, do I really need an explanation? This guy just puts on classic after classic after classic. Whether it's Will Ospreay, whether it's Zack Sabre, whether it's Kenny Omega, whether it's Hangman, whether it's MJF, you name it. Bryan Danielson, whomever you put him in the ring with in a high caliber match, they will deliver. And Ricochet, I think, is no less. Now, I don't think Ricochet is the best when it comes to delivering promos, but when it comes to his in-ring work with Bryan Danielson, I think these two would just put on an absolute clinic. This match would be incredible, dude. The only sad thing is, with Bryan Danielson having this year as his last full year being a full-time wrestler, I don't know if we'll ever get this match, but if we ever were to get this match, even at a part-time Bryan Danielson versus Ricochet, which again, I don't know will happen because he is part-time, so they might save him for the bigger feuds. Regardless though, this match would be freaking awesome, honestly. These two would tear it down. Now, I don't remember if these two had a match in WWE. They might have, but still. Give them some 30 minutes in AEW television, give them a pay-per-view match, and these two, I guarantee, will put on an absolute clinic. Number 3 on my list, I have Kenny Omega. Very similar to Bryan Danielson. These two would just put on an amazing match because Kenny Omega is incapable of putting on a bad match. Now, the only thing is with Kenny Omega, him being sidelined with diverticulitis, we don't know when he's going to ever come back into the ring. I think also, I might be wrong, but I believe Ricochet and Kenny Omega might have had a match back then, maybe 2014 or so. I'm not exactly sure, but I believe they did. But yeah, man, Kenny Omega would just put on an absolute classic with Ricochet. This would be such a fun match to see. It could be very similar to how remember when Omega faced El Hijo del Vikingo, I believe his name was. Very similar to that. I feel like Ricochet will put on a beautiful, beautiful match. And I think these two would tell a really good story. Both amazing wrestlers, and like I said, Kenny Omega, like Bryan Danielson, like a few of these wrestlers actually, just don't put on bad matches. And Ricochet is far from a horrible wrestler. So these two would put on a really, really, really good match, and I would 100% pay real money to see it. Number 2 on my list, I got Adam Cole. Now, here's the sad thing about Adam Cole. Ever since joining AEW, he has been riddled with injuries, whether it's concussions, whether it's his knee, you name it. The guy just can't stay healthy. But I really want to see this match happen if Ricochet was to ever join AEW, because if you guys remember NXT TakeOver, I don't know the exact year, maybe 2018, 2019, that huge match between Ricochet and Adam Cole for the North American Championship. That match was literally perfect. It was such an excellent match, and I've been clamoring for these two to wrestle again. Now, like I said, with Adam Cole having his injury history, I don't know if this match will ever happen, and if he does, I don't know what kind of version we'll have of Adam Cole. But I guarantee if these two had a match, I would literally watch this over a lot of other wrestlers. That's the reason why I had Adam Cole over Omega, because like Malachi Black in NXT when he was Aleister Black, these two kind of had like some chemistry. These two had chemistry because they did have a match together. And it was, like I said, a guaranteed fight. It was a 5-star classic. So I would love to see Adam Cole and Ricochet again. Like I said, the only problem is I don't know if we'll ever have Adam Cole back in AEW. The same, the same like prime momentum that he used to have, because like I said, with all the injuries he's accumulated over the years. But this is 100% number 2. Now, the long-awaited number 1 will be coming up right now. Finally, to cap off this list, at number 1, most people probably already guessed it, but I have Will Ospreay, because it's Will Ospreay. These two actually had a match, I believe, in 2016. It was like some World Cup, I believe it was for WWCW. But like I said, Ospreay, Ricochet, these two had amazing chemistry. I urge you to watch the clip on YouTube, because they have this match of Ricochet and Ospreay having that match, like I said, for that, like their own World Cup, I believe it was. And it was incredible. Like, these two have immaculate chemistry. They're selling the way they move around the ring, the way they work together as a whole. This match would be like, this match could potentially melt eyeballs even more so. I don't know if anything would top that match, but Will Ospreay right now, in my opinion, puts on classic after classic after classic since joining AEW when it comes to pay-per-views, whether it's Konosuke Takeshita, whether it's Bryan Danielson, whether it's Roderick Strong, it really doesn't matter. Will Ospreay just will put on a classic no matter who is in front of him. And if you give Ricochet, whom they have, like I said, amazing chemistry, this match would be, this would be a dream match, honestly. Now, I don't know if this could main event pay-per-view, but it 100% could. It's just because I don't really know how they're going to book Ricochet exactly if he were to join AEW. But if I wanted to see Ricochet face anybody in AEW, Will Ospreay would be my number 1 guy. And that will conclude, guys, my list of the dream matches that I would love to see Ricochet have if he were to join AEW. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment down below. Do you agree with my picks? I left off wrestlers such as a guy like MJF, a guy like Roosh, a guy like Hangman, even the Bucks. Tell me down below. If you want to add those guys as well, I would love to hear you guys' comments and your feedback on this video. As well, don't forget down below, hit the subscribe button for more wrestling content like this. And then also, don't forget, Connect the Vibe this Friday. You won't want to miss it. All right, now I'm all set. Have a good rest of your morning, great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow.